Hey, what is up, guys? This is Quarter Recall, a live show where we take a look back at what was going on in pop culture this week, 25 years ago. Movies,
25
music,
years.
video games, nothing is off limits. Leo, they don't know who you are yet. You can't talk before I
For all you
introduce
guys,
you.
though, it's just Tony.
Yeah, this is my lovely co-host Leo.
Hey, all.
Uh,
Happy to be here.
and yeah, well, I think we're both really excited to be here, get this thing kicked off. Um, I think before we get too far, kind of this concept for us was um, Leo really loves like nostalgia and like why can't I think of old games? What I would call those
I like classic.
classic games. Retro gaming was what I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's funny because to me, retro means like Atari because I'm older, but obviously to someone who's younger, retro would be exactly what we're talking about here.
yeah, and for me, I mean, I'm a little bit older than you even. Like this is definitely like prime teenage time, like 25
Yeah,
years
same.
ago. I'll be 40 this year, so 25 years ago really hits that sweet like 15-year-old spot.
Yeah,
That prime time, the golden time of your life where everything is new and you're learning to drive and
you're
uh,
easily impressed.
you're easily impressed and you can eat Jack in the Box every
Exactly.
day. And, oh man, what a time to be alive. Um,
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this before too, and it feels like for me, like you said, I'm a bit younger. It feels like when I first started enjoying art and appreciating it and sort of breaking out and realizing there was stuff outside of, what was in my house that I could enjoy. So, like you, it's very formative, this era.
yeah, I think for me it was like hearing Radiohead for the first time,
Right,
more than just hearing like Creep on the radio. And before that, I was just so dumb with music. Like I like Green Day and
right.
Offspring and stuff, which I think are cool. But I felt like Radiohead really gave me like this depth to music, and it made me think of other things in that sense. Like, can games be art? Can movies be art?
Yeah.
Like is all music just dumb? Like, is there good music and then classical music? Is that the only distinction? And I realized that there's so many shades to everything, kind of in that period.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, real quick, we should be clear that I don't think this is all going to be positive by any means. Like, we're not the kind of people who look at stuff and are like, man, that was so great. Everything's great. I think a lot of this shit from 25 years ago is terrible, and it'll be really fun to talk about that as well. It's not going to be all rose-colored glasses by any means.
Yeah, even beyond cultural issues, just prepping for this show, um,
Yeah,
even just like the way content was distributed and like the expectation of viewers was
hmm
so low at the time that like looking at this stuff now, it's like this is dog shit. Like
yeah,
not even just like the technology of it, but the
yeah,
like the how they respected the audience just seemed
yeah.
so um, fucking shitty and sinister. But
Yeah, sinister is a good word.
yeah,
It does, yeah. That I think that's why I'm really excited, not only to re-examine all the art, but also the way the art's delivered. I think I'm really looking forward to those conversations.
all right. Before we get into the past, though, did you get up to anything good this week, Leo? Did you play any games, watch any movies?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to talk a little bit about modern stuff just to give people a frame of reference. I did not watch anything. I read some, but I did play some Final Fantasy 14, which actually is sort of relevant. I finished the latest expansion finally after a couple months of sort of piddling around with it, so that was very exciting. Felt good.
After all this
But
time, you're finally ahead of me in the MSQ. How does it feel?
yeah, it's been years now. Pretty good. I actually unsubbed, so I'll be taking a break. But it's a really cool expansion. I had a lot of fun at the end. There's a lot we could say about it, of course, but I'd say at the end, Final Fantasy 14 is all the best parts of Final Fantasy, with quite a bit less of the shitty parts that so many of the other entries suffer from. So yeah, it was fun. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. It's hard not to be captivated by Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, such
Um,
a labor of love.
yeah, it really is. What about me? So I did something that I think we often do. I think me and you talk about this all the time. I modded my Vita again.
Oh,
Uh, I feel like this is something we do
nice.
like
Yeah, every couple of
biannually.
years,
Yeah,
and then you unmod it because you're like, oh shit, this
yeah,
doesn't work.
yeah. All the patches like it stops working after a
Yeah.
while, and then you're like, oh, I'll unmod it, and then 6 months later, you're
Yep.
like, I'll mod it again.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
yeah. So I spent some time doing that and played some Vita games, which was fun.
Nice.
But really, it's funny. Every time I do this, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try all these other Vita games,
Yeah.
and I still just play Luminous. Like that's the I end up booting out playing that for all the time and not playing any of the other games I downloaded because
Yeah.
it's literally the best game on the Vita and the PSP. Uh,
Well, yeah. I don't know if I
yeah,
agree with you on that, but
it
it
is.
certainly is good.
It is no contest. Uh,
I had the same experience when I did mod it. I played everything for 5 minutes, and that's when I realized, like, oh, there's actually, Vita's great. There's a lot of cool stuff on there, but there's not a lot of like really great top tier games that are only on the Vita. So it is always kind of funny. You're like, I went to all this trouble, and now I can play anything. But do I want to?
yeah, the hardware is definitely better than the software.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well said.
I am trying to get Moonlight set up right because it would be
Oh yeah,
fun to play Final Fantasy 14 on the Vita, right?
yeah,
Like, not do anything difficult, but like for running around and
yeah.
uh,
Talking to your retainer.
yeah, taking care of my retainer ventures and stuff. Like being able to do that sitting on the couch would be pretty handy.
Yeah. Who needs a Steam Deck
Yeah, who
when you
need?
got a Vita?
Yeah, Vita's the ultimate Steam Deck. What more do you need? So I did that. What else? I started watching Eternals. I haven't finished the movie yet, but I got like halfway through it.
Oh,
It's
very
not
long.
very good.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't see it.
that's kind of why I didn't finish it because I was just sort of watching it and was like, it's okay. Like, uh, so started watching that. I started playing Judgment on my PS5,
Oh,
but
Yakuza Judgment, right?
yeah, the
Yeah,
post Yakuza
yeah,
game. Um, I started playing it, but I'm going really slow. I'm making my girlfriend watch me play it. She's Japanese, and she
yeah.
knows the actor very well. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
so he's a member of this like group called Johnny's. It's like a talent studio in Japan,
Yeah.
and she's like a big Johnny's fan. So
Oh, cool.
it was on sale, and I downloaded it. And I was like, I don't know, why don't we can kind of play it together. Like I'll play it. She
Yeah,
can kind of backseat drive. So
that sounds
um,
like fun, actually.
yeah, started working on that. But outside of that, just kind of the same stuff. Playing some Valorant. Um, I don't know. I've started playing Valorant more, Leo. You're gonna be
Hmm.
disappointed in me, but
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that offline.
I got a group of buds playing, so I'm trying to jump in. But I'm just so dog shit at those games, man.
Yeah,
It's hard to even. Yeah.
yeah. I think I'm done with multiplayer games for a long time. I've decided, but we'll see.
All right. All right. I'm gonna spool up some commercials in the background and let's talk about
Nice.
the news. Yeah, I love letting these things run while we chat, but uh, we don't have to comment on them. So let's go. Let's talk about what happened in the week. This is the last week of January 1997. So I
Hmm.
think it went from like the 24th to the first. If we're gonna go Monday to Sunday with the week,
Yeah.
and couple news hits. Uh, Supermarket chain settles bias lawsuit. Publix agreed to pay $81.5 million for accusations that it discriminated against 100,000 women employees. Surprise,
Wow.
surprise! Some things never change.
Yeah. What did change though is the number. Right? 81.5 million seems like nothing now for something of that scale. That's
Yeah,
like I know people who have that much money, and I don't know. And I'm not like that well connected. So it's pretty amazing just how inflation operates.
and even just the volume of people involved, right? Like
Yeah.
I think we see smaller, more like niche discrimination cases now, but this seems like every woman that worked at Publix was discriminated
Yeah, it's hard
against.
to say no to that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You could shut down a couple with cease and desist, but 100,000 people who are all yeah, it's a little more difficult.
And this one seemed timely. U.S. economy found to be strong. Government reports vigorous 4.7% growth in the final quarter of 96, fueled by increase in exports. One measure finds inflation to be the lowest in 30 years.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's like the
Uh,
opposite of right now.
yeah, that's funny. For a second, I thought it said fueled by an increase in esports, and I was like, well, that wasn't expected, but
Esports
this
was
makes more
popping
sense.
off.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is
like
kind of what
Quake and Doom.
this is kind of, well, a few years later, I guess. Like
Yeah,
when Counter Strike came out, I started doing a lot of like online, like ladders and shoutcasted
yeah,
matches and stuff, and some like Tribes One and stuff. But that was like 99, 2000.
yeah,
Um, so the Billboard Top 100 of the week, the top song of the week was "Unbreak My Heart" by Tony Braxton. Um,
yeah,
I would love for us to be able to listen to music or watch music videos, but we can't. Um,
yeah.
I'm already worried
Unfortunately,
about movie trailers having music in them and us like getting taken down, but we can talk about music. So here's the blurb for "Unbreak My Heart." Um, "Unbreak My Heart" is a song by American singer Toni Braxton for her second studio album, Secrets. The song was written by Diane Warren and produced by David Foster. It was released as the second single from the album through LaFace Records. Oh, that's like Babyface's label.
Oh, interesting. I didn't
The,
know that.
the song is a ballad about a blistering heartbreak in which the singer begs a former lover to return and undo the pain he has caused. That's not how pain
Yeah.
works, Tony Braxton. Uh, it won Best Female Pop Vocal Performance at the 39th Annual Grammy Awards. It sold over 10 million copies worldwide, 3 million in the US, making it one of the best-selling singles of all time.
Yeah.
Unbreak My Heart attained commercial success worldwide in the United States. The song reached #1 in the Billboard Hot 100, where it stayed a total of 11 weeks, while reaching the same position on Hot Dance Song, Adult Contemporary. When Billboard celebrated their 40 years, charting from 58 to 98, the song was declared as the most successful song by a solo artist in the Billboard Hot 100 history.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty
Pretty
wild.
amazing. Yeah. Um,
Huge
I,
song.
I, yeah, it was huge, and my memories of it were I was pretty young, and this kind of when I first started listening to the radio, and that song was everywhere, like constantly. I even now when I think about that song, I just think about how heavily it was played in rotation, and I'm not sure if it just stood out to me for some reason as particularly heavy in rotation, but I just remember it would play, twice an hour for 3 years.
You know what's wild? It's not the biggest single of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Shows it was a big year for music, I guess.
Do you have any guess at what was the biggest single of the year?
No, I can't really. I could postulate, but I am curious.
So I'll tell you. I'll spoil it for the end of the year. But it was big for a reason. But "Candle in the Wind" was the biggest single. The Elton
Ah,
John Princess Diana tribute.
fascinating. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I never would have guessed that in a million years.
I mean, maybe you should go a little. You
Well,
know,
that's kind of why we're doing this,
maybe
right?
you should guess better. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
ask me.
I actually did. I agree with you. I wish we could watch the video and talk about it, but it's just not an option. I did, however, watch the video before our conversation, and it is very funny. This it is definitely a ballad about a very sad woman, and they make that very very clear. There's a great scene where her guy, who I guess died, is doing like tai chi in the backyard in slow motion while she
That's
sings.
dope.
It's great.
I seem to
It's
remember
definitely worth watching.
nightgowns. I seem to remember her being in a nightgown
Yes,
in that video. That's all
she
I
is.
can recall.
I'm
Lovely
surprised
woman.
that stood out to you.
Lovely woman in a nightgown. What more could you
Yeah,
want?
she is in her underwear for no reason, and she's very upset the whole time. But anyway, it's pretty funny. It's a it's a pretty good song. Very much a ballad. I find it to be pretty hard to listen to these days, but there's no question that as far as ballads go, it is, it was popular for a reason.
I love me a good ballad. What can I say?
Yeah.
All right, with that out of the way, let's get into our trailers, the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't have a lot of game trailers this week. And to be
Yeah.
fair, this game trailer was for the Japanese release. And before we get into the trailers, I do want to predicate this all on. I go by the. There's a Wikipedia of like 97, the year in gaming, and the year in movies. And that's what I
Mhm.
base my dates on. There's a lot of conflicting release dates on the internet if you want to pinpoint an
Yeah.
actual like physical day a game came out. Um, and so I just live by that chart, and it might be fuzzy a few weeks or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So
and I think we should also clarify, like, we're not trying to be historians here. We're not like we just want to talk about this stuff. I don't think we're here to like educate you on the exact release dates of things. It's going to be much more fuzzy. I don't think we'll talk about the same thing more than once. We'll try and be consistent. But I think if you're coming for like a super accurate historical take on exactly what happened on specific dates, that's probably not really what we're trying to do here.
yeah, we're just wanting to look at things and relate them to
Yeah,
our personal stories, which I think is fun,
exactly.
right? And
Yeah,
we hope you can relate them to your personal stories and share it
yeah,
with us. And I think that's where the good times are going to come from this, not
totally.
from there's other places to find historical
Yeah, accuracy is not a
yeah,
priority.
breakdowns of this stuff. We're gonna be goofing, so
Yeah,
I hope you're
exactly.
I hope you're down to goof. But without further ado, let's get into our game trailer for the week.
Woo.
Eidos, what could it be? Is it
Gotta be Tomb
Tomb
Raider,
Raider?
right?
Right? It's gotta be
Must
Tomb
be.
Raider.
Maybe Thief?
Thief 2?
Is it Thief 2?
I don't know. Oh,
Oh! That's promising. In the 90s, that was very promising to see.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
So this is the Japanese release, like you said, right?
Yeah, the trailer's not Japanese. Actually, finding the
Right.
trailer for this was so challenging because everything's for the remake now, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's the other thing we'll be struggling with. We can't like promise that they will be the exact trailer that came out at the time necessarily, but it's the best we can do.
yeah, like this.
So do you remember this trailer?
No.
I don't really either, but I just remember people talking about it because it was sort of before I was watching TV. But I remember screenshots, and I remember people just being absolutely blown away by
I'm trying to
these
remember, like,
cutscenes.
I'm trying to remember what convinced me on Final Fantasy VII. Like, I knew I liked Final Fantasy games before this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, was I already sold? I don't even remember seeing trailers, or I didn't read a ton of magazines at the time.
yeah.
Um, but I knew I needed this game when it came out, right?
The marketing push was
Huge.
very severe.
Yeah. I remember that the CD cover everywhere, just the white background with the little meteor, and
A cool cover.
yeah, it was a cool cover. Final Fantasy's art's so great.
Yeah, it always has been. Yeah, this is interesting. State of the art, and it was.
It was a thing.
Yeah, back when Square uncovered the power of the CD-ROM. But it is interesting. Like the CGI is cool and everything, but this trailer is quite pretty dull
I will
as far
say,
as like.
90s trailers in general seem to be uh, random collections of scenery with no overarching story or compelling reason to play the games or view the
Yeah, it
content.
totally feels like it was much more half-assed than they are now, where it's like, you hire an entire people's entire lives are just around cutting trailers, whereas I think before, especially for a game like this, it was probably done, 3 days before
Yeah,
air date.
I assume so too. They just took existing content.
Yeah.
I do remember the summons just blowing my mind in this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, the game was. It was a very important game to me as well, like it was for so many people. I think I played it a couple years after. I remember I played it when the PS2 first came out, so I came to it a little bit late, but I was probably prime age for it, and it was really impactful for me. And I
Yeah,
will say that I don't think it's aged very well compared to some of the other Final Fantasies, so I don't like it nearly as much now as a lot of people do, but it was very important to me at the time.
there was an epic nature to it that I think even previous JRPGs didn't accomplish. Even previous Final Fantasy games, right?
Agreed.
Like, I think they were great. I think that there was a lot of value in them, but I do think they kind of missed a certain like uh, grandiose nature that Final Fantasy VII achieved, where it just felt so big.
Yeah.
Like
And
um,
I think it did have an edge to it as well. Not to say the other ones didn't explore, darker themes from time to time, but something about the pre-render backgrounds and those cutscenes gave it sort of a more quote unquote mature. It felt more mature. I think in retrospect, it's actually a lot less mature in many ways than some of the ones that came before. But it felt as someone who was part of the target demographic, it felt very sort of more adult oriented than JRPGs I'd played in the past. Also, I was fairly new to JRPGs at the time, so that might have been part of it as well.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think it was massively impactful as a game. I think
Oh yeah,
for everyone I know, and that's in our age bracket, right? Like, um,
yeah,
I mean, the amount of people talking about remake when it came out recently,
yeah,
really blew my mind because I really wasn't that interested in remake. I was just sort of like, what, like, it seems cool, I guess. It's just another game, but I think for a lot of people, Final Fantasy VII is such a touchstone of like gaming for them. Like, it's the only thing they've invested that kind of time
yeah.
in their gaming careers, and it really says a lot for kind of what that game was to people and just in the culture how huge it was at the time.
Yeah, and I think, like we talked about earlier, it was for many people, myself included, a sort of look into, oh man, games could be more than I thought. They could be more than Street Fighter or Mario. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but they can tell a story in a way that I think maybe felt new for a lot of people.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it was so easy to minimize the dark parts of stories when it was, Super Nintendo graphics, right? Like,
Yeah,
when people died, it didn't seem real or didn't like matter, whereas in this, the
yeah,
fidelity in some ways finally reached a point where you generated like more real connections, I think, to
yeah.
the characters and what they were doing. I don't know why being in a 3D space felt that way, but it definitely kind of
Yeah,
had that impact for me.
especially when the 3D characters look like that,
Yeah,
like they do in that game.
yeah,
That game, I think, has aged very poorly in many ways, but there's no questioning its importance to me as well. It felt really huge, so it's cool to see that trailer. 97. And then it also, it really put them on the map, Squaresoft, financially and as a real household name in a way they weren't before. So it was a big changing point for them, for better or worse.
yeah. How did we all love Tifa so much when she looks so ridiculous? You know
Yeah,
what
I
I
don't
mean?
know.
Like, there's
It
nothing
is very weird.
sexy about that model. You know what
No,
I
and
mean?
she's not even that great of a character either. Like she
No.
was okay, but it's not like she was extremely cool or really well written or anything. She was just like yeah, I'm not sure what that was about.
But she captured the hearts of everyone. You know, like, is right place, right time. I guess
Yeah,
I don't know, but
yeah.
it's so
It's
funny.
a fascinating game though, and the fact, yeah, this remake just came out recently shows how important it was to everything.
To everyone. All right.
Hmm.
Let's that's it for games this week. So hopefully we'll have more moving forward, but
Yeah,
Japanese
it'll
release.
it'll vary. It'll vary week to week.
I mean
That's
it
part of
definitely
why
will.
we're doing it this way.
Yeah, Japanese release of Final Fantasy VII, January 31st. Bada bing. All right, to the movies.
Oh yeah, movie trailers from the '90s. Whew.
These are rough. I'm telling you right now, these are so rough.
Let's see.
Yeah, we're definitely getting taken down on it. Just talk over
Oh
the music.
boy.
Whenever there's music, talk
Yeah,
over
yeah.
the music.
Well, I know who this is. I think we
Yeah.
all know who that man is.
R.I.P. Bro.
Yeah, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
What year did he die? Do you remember?
I have a computer right here. I can find out for you.
Yeah. I think this was right before, because I listened to a lot of Tupac growing up, but I think it might have been right after this.
I think it was
'Cause
right
my brother was really
this.
into him.
Lately, I've been feeling like my luck's been running out. I'm kicking. And
Dang, I do think it was right before this. Did he really die before this?
Detox today.
Hey, I don't know.
Yeah, it's released 4 months after he died.
Oh wow,
That's fucked up.
that is fucked up. That's fascinating.
Dark.
Why is everything such a
Man, I'm sure whoever producer or directed it had very mixed feelings. It's like a lot more people are gonna watch this movie now, but
Yeah, how? This would never happen in the modern era. Like,
I don't know.
like to get it back.
I can't
I
believe
mean, you remember the same thing happened with Brandon Lee and The Crow, right?
Yeah.
They released that anyway. They were like, "Fuck it, let's finish it." He would have wanted us to.
These people working these government jobs.
yeah, I
People were
don't-
putting out albums. Remember, people put out like 7 or 8 of his albums after he died too.
Yeah,
Like they were not shy about cannibalizing his legacy.
yeah, it's so sad.
possibly money order.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's what they should do. I have no idea, but it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I have no idea either. You know, I
I
don't
don't
know if
think
I
I
would have.
ever seen a movie with Tupac.
He has a couple movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even Juice. You ever seen Juice?
No, I don't think I've seen any of his movies.
Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson. He's in that movie.
Walk in here after
Okay.
5, 10.
No, I mean, I just haven't. It's not like I avoided them.
You need to watch more cultural films, okay?
Yes.
Your white male film gaze.
Well, also, I was 10. Keep in mind, please.
I mean, I understand how you were 10.
Up, talk, quick.
This
Sandy
movie,
Newton, that's who it was. Yeah, she's great. I love her.
This movie looks. I don't know. Are you into
It looks better than some of the trailers we've seen.
This is the first trailer we've seen.
I know, but I mean, you and I have watched some 90s trailers recently.
Yeah, I would watch this movie for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, maybe. I don't know.
If it was on TV, I'd watch it.
Yeah, that's a perfect TV movie.
Yeah. Some of these other movies I would not watch if they were on TV.
It is, yeah, and Tupac was also, pretty important cultural milestone.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because that's my era, and I was sort of into Tupac in that time.
Yeah.
But when I listen to it now, I'm just kind of like, I'm not really that into this music. Like, it doesn't hold as well as like some other music of that era that I think is still really good.
I've noticed that it, like, production-wise, the stuff from the West Coast sounds a little bit worse than the stuff from the other side
Yeah.
of the country. because they were using actual samples, and the West Coast stuff, which I grew up with and still have a lot of fondness for, was using a lot more like synthesizers. So it's just aged a lot more than the stuff from the East Coast.
It's a lot easier to
which is
listen to
super
old
interesting.
Notorious B.I.G. or LL Cool J
Yep,
than it
or,
is a
or
lot of
Wu
the-
Tang Clan.
or Wu Tang
Yeah,
Clan. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like a decent enough film. What strikes me about these trailers, and we'll see this with all of them, is that they just seem like random collections of scenes. Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what any of the stories for any of these movies are. But
Yeah,
and I like
totally.
I like that this one had the DVD intro. Like,
Yeah.
you could at least you know this is a real trailer because it got ripped from the DVD.
Yeah, someone uploaded it. Someone went to the trouble. Oh my God, it's David Arquette.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah, like 19 or some shit.
he says he turns 20. Yeah, he says he turns 21. So in the film,
How
he's
did he
20.
get
Have you
famous?
seen somebody named John?
I don't know. I think his sister was famous first, right?
Jesus, John's
I don't know.
Patricia Arquette.
I don't think that's his sister.
I think they're brother and sister.
No, I believe they were married.
What?
You sold drugs for Jimmy
Yeah.
the Warlock and then kept the money. I never take
That makes sense why they have the same last name.
I try to keep good karma.
See, you don't talk to Jimmy about karma, man. I'm a Buddhist, remember?
We gotta
Oh
get
my
you to
God, this
heaven.
this movie does not look good at all.
It looks real bad.
Hey, Richard Kind.
And he plays the guitar player.
Well, that's
Oh my God. Yeah, I
No,
wouldn't
David
watch
Arquette's
this
her
movie.
brother.
I gotta come up with a whole lot of money.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Courtney Cox. My bad. They were married.
How dare you?
That's why I was confused. My bad.
Yeah, like what the fuck is this movie?
It looks really lame.
Affiliated with the Los Angeles Police Department.
Are you a prostitute?
It really is. You're totally right. It's just random clips.
I'm not moving to some place called
Yeah.
Camelot, that's why.
I don't think they bothered really to have any sort of narrative or theme.
So these guys are hookers,
12 o'clock tonight.
and that's their
Jimmy
pimp.
Yeah.
gets his money today.
I think so.
What time is it? What time is it? What time is it?
I'm running out of
What
What
time is it? What time is it, Tony?
I don't know. Like what the?
I don't know. I'd be curious to talk to someone who's seen this movie. I've never even heard of
Don't worry
it.
about me, man. I am always
Oh
right on
no! I
time.
spilled Diet Coke on my cool In-N-Out shirt. It's really sad.
From director
Oh, I'm
Scott
sorry.
Silver,
It's okay.
What is happening?
Lucas
That's what I'm
Howes,
saying. What is
David
this
Arquette.
fucking
We're
movie?
gonna be the best damn lifeguards they ever had in Camelot.
I'm trying to imagine who would watch this trailer and be
Sure
like,
as we learn how to
dude,
swim.
finally.
Johns.
I wonder who Scott Silver
Coming
was.
soon from
I will say there's one trailer on here that I think is looks good, but all right, we'll keep rolling. I don't have a lot to say about Johns.
Yeah.
Rated R.
Uh-oh. Careful. If you got kids around.
You are cordially
Now this was an era for me, like
special celebration.
90s
An
comedies.
exclusive event.
I really kind of
for
miss
the
them.
social
Like,
elite.
May I have your invitation, sir?
All right, buddy,
Yeah.
take that, all right? And get
Oh,
me some
boy,
grapefruit
yeah.
pie.
Rodney
This fucking
Dangerfield,
guy.
Leslie
Rodney
Nielsen,
Dangerfield.
like all those just like bad jokes, dumb movies for 12-year-olds. Like,
Looks like the unhappy hour.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield I never connected with at
Oh, you
all.
come here often?
you know, like Ladybugs, bro.
Don't worry, honey, I'm not making a play for you.
No, I mean,
Otherwise,
again,
I
I'm not like, I haven't seen all the movies by any means, but. And as you can see, he was already, this was sort of his last,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this was the end of his era. But
right. Ah, penis.
Good evening, sir. Governor Preston?
yeah, like what's the, you know what I mean? Like, what are we?
Hey, that's
You know how
David Ogden
excited I am
Steers.
to meet you.
Meet Wally Sparks.
Oh my god.
That's
the whole
joke.
trailer.
That's the whole trailer. That's the joke. It looks
I
like
kind of respect that they just like, we got one joke. That's it.
that's
all
what
you
I
get.
mean. It's so dumb, right? Like, I don't know. I have a fondness for that kind of stupidity. I really do.
Yeah, I could kind of respect the the sort of dedication to it. It's unapologetic.
It's better than the trailer you saw before it.
Yeah,
That looks. I'd
I
rather
guess.
watch that than John. If you put Johns and
Yeah, I agree.
Wally Sparks next to each other on a table and showed me the trailers, I'd be like, I'll just watch the Rodney Dangerfield one. Like,
Yeah.
I'll go with the dick jokes, please.
Yeah, I'd prefer to watch neither. I'd prefer to watch the Tupac movie, I think.
So far, yeah, Tupac movie wins. But we got more to go. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm excited.
This one says the name of the movie under it the whole time.
I bet it didn't say that in the actual trailer.
No, I think this is just a YouTube rip I got.
Yeah. Whoa.
They spoke of treason.
They spoke.
This is
That
January
guy.
January 6th, the movie.
You're gonna hear about that guy a lot, or you're gonna hear that guy's voice a lot.
Yeah.
It's a matter of life or death. Something terrible
Whoa.
is happening inside the government at the highest level.
Oh, he knows.
Yeah.
They killed your
Hey, it's Charlie Sheen and Donald Sutherland. Oh,
It's Benghazi.
how sweet. Yeah, this looks strangely. Is that Linda Hamilton?
Yeah, it's Linda Hamilton.
Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know. This looks pretty cool, man.
I'd watch this movie for sure.
Yeah.
What were your sources?
It's like the net combined with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Bobby, I've been ordered to bring you in. Where are you?
The up-and-coming actor, Charlie Sheen. What could go wrong?
I'm into this trailer.
Yeah, no, me too. I'd definitely watch this. It's got like that early Tom Clancy vibe, you know?
God, Bobby, what are we gonna do?
There's a chance I can stop him.
It might be like a Tom Clancy movie.
Yeah, it probably is.
Is in our hands.
At least this trailer feels a little more modern as far as like
Yeah, it
oh,
feels
that logo. Whew.
it feels like a movie trailer.
Yeah.
Like there's a thing
Yeah.
to watch there, right? It's like there's a story. We know Charlie Sheen's like some kind of agent, and he's uncovered some conspiracy.
Yeah.
He knows too much. Like
That's right. It's right there in the name.
it's right there.
Like, I wonder what this movie's about. Well, if you had to guess. Yeah, I like that one. I'd watch that.
Yeah, and at the end of the movie, Charlie Sheen makes 4chan, and that's he goes on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Real long-term shadow conspiracy.
Yeah, he fucking figured it out. All right, let's. Oh, this next one I think is gonna be a real banger.
Humdinger.
Yeah. A little warning: this trailer isn't specifically for. So this is another one where it says the dates in the trailer, and they don't match the dates of the week when it says it was released on the site I looked it up on. So just bear with it, and it's actually for more than one movie. This trailer, so
Yeah, it's fine. Like I said, I don't think we're gonna worry too much about that kind of thing. Ooh.
ooh,
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
No, I remember this.
Yeah, this is huge.
And this is totally appropriate. Whoa! It's like it's flying right at me on my tiny screen inside of a larger screen inside of a tiny screen.
Yeah, I thought I was about to eat a photon torpedo, bro.
That's Star Trek.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I swear X-Wings have a photon torpedo.
I thought it was Proton in Star Wars. We're gonna make some enemies now.
Oh my god, you're right. It is proton torpedo.
Yeah, that's okay. It's an easy mistake to make.
And,
Ooh, that looks awful.
it looks so bad.
The stuff they added, they should not have added.
No, the stuff they added is so bad.
I do love that they showed all the stuff they added, because it was like literally 3 minutes, as far as I remember. So it was kind of funny.
I do hate that you can't find the original anymore. This is like the only version you can buy now anywhere. And I think that's
Yeah,
kind of a
it's like-
shame.
Yeah, you have to like pirate it, probably.
Yeah. I wouldn't know, but yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I'd imagine. I do remember though, I got into Star Wars pretty soon before this. I got real lucky because my brother showed me all of them, and I got really into Star Wars. And this happened like, I don't remember the exact year, but it was pretty soon after that they re-released these in theaters. And I do remember going to see them in theaters, and it was awesome.
It was the end of January 1997 that they released.
No, I know, but I don't remember when I had watched Star Wars before that. I think I did, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was only like 96 the first time I watched them.
Yeah,
so
I
it
was
perfect.
I was
It was
fortunate.
like at the height of my excitement.
I have older brothers, and so like,
There is another.
you know, my brothers are old enough that they watched like Jedi in the theaters, and they were very into Star Wars all growing up. So like, Star Wars was pretty ever present in my house. So I was really familiar by the time these came out. But you know, I will say like the photon torpedo thing. I didn't really give a shit about like. I don't think Star Wars is very precious. You know, like I enjoy, well, at least some of them as films, and I think they're fun, and I think the world can be fun. I like the ride at Star Wars a whole lot. It's so good. But I think some people take it a little too, like, think it's like a real thing. You know, like I don't understand this kind of tender care people want you to treat Star Wars with, or oh, I can't believe you confused photon torpedo with proton torpedo.
Yeah, was that a little crack at me there?
Yeah, well, not you
No,
specifically.
no, totally. I hear you. And it is interesting because, like, for me, I got really into that side of it. I got really into the ships and like the weapons and all of that. I found really intriguing. And then when I discovered Star Trek, which is much more focused on that side of thing, and that side of it's much more built out, it was very easy for me to be like, oh, okay, so that's like sort of a very loose, fun, and accessible version of if you're really interested in that shit, then Star Trek's kind of the rabbit hole you can really go down. So I still have a huge fondness for Star Wars because it really intrigued me in a lot of ways that are still relevant now. But I totally agree with you. And now when I watch even the original trilogy, which I still really enjoy, it definitely feels real goofy and fun and silly, which is great. But I can't imagine someone being like, no, the lore is fucking awesome. And I understand the EU like goes to some really cool places. I'm not trying to say it's all bad or anything, but when you just look at the movies themselves, I totally agree with you. People being super precious about it feels very strange and sort of antithetical to like the goals of the films too, you know, in some ways.
To me, like, that's where I think the prequels miss so hard, is that their focus was like the politics of Star Wars and like the origins of these characters, which no one fucking cares about, right? Or some people think they care about, but when they see it actually, you know, when you actually see it, you're like, oh no, this is really bad and stupid and like poorly thought out. Where the fun stuff is so cool, like, you know, the Darth Maul fight is the best part of the prequels, right? Because it's like, yeah, this is what I'm here for. Fucking fantasy lightsaber sword fights, right? Like,
and the ships, for me at least. I was just really into the space battles and the lightsaber fights.
And Star Destroyers are just the sickest shit.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Like,
and the Death Star's fucking cool. Like, all the machines and the art is fucking awesome. The story was never a strength.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the new Star Wars ride at Disneyland is so cool. And,
I've heard that.
And you're on a Star Destroyer in the ship, and it's so cool. Like, you know, like it goes through these stages. Like, I don't want to spoil it too much, but like you go through these stages and like initially you're on a transport and you get like tractor beamed inside a Star Destroyer, and you get off the transport and you're inside of a Star Destroyer, like on the hangar bay. There's troops everywhere, you know, there's stormtroopers everywhere, and it's just like, it's so cool. It's great. And you know, like, that's the stuff that's so great about Star Wars, not who controls the fucking Senate. You know what I mean? Like,
or like Han Solo's fucking character at all, you know?
Or well,
who cares?
I like it when he's murdering people.
Yeah, sure, but I'd rather watch someone murder like people with a lightsaber, you know?
Yeah,
much more interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Like that last scene in oh god, what's it called? The one where they steal the Death Star plans.
Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah. The ending scene in that movie is so good, where Darth Vader
that was cool.
murders everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to fucking
so
see.
Good. That's what I want too. That shit is amazing. Like that, I didn't even like that movie that much, but at the end,
me neither.
That part is so good.
Totally.
All right, we got one more trailer before we're done here, so let's get through this and then we'll close it out. I could talk about Star Wars for a long time.
Yeah, same.
The city council of Blaine gave me the responsibility of
I think this movie looks great.
The 150th anniversary of Blaine. I took the whole history of the town.
Yeah.
Squeezed it like a piece
It looks before its time in a way that, like,
I mean, all their movies were.
Working with Corky is
that
I
wow.
do indeed have talent.
This looks so modern in like this presentation, right?
Absolutely.
I have found here in Blaine a gold mine of talent.
Yeah, this looks awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know how much of it's because I like all their other movies, but even so, I think and it looks like it could have been made this year.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves.
We've got Ron and Sheila on board again.
Oh, Fred West.
Newcomer Alan Pearl.
I have a very lazy eye, which
I mean, like, Eugene Levy's so good.
Prescription glasses help.
Libby.
I've been working here at the DQ for
Oh.
about
And of course, Lloyd and I, it's like rams butting heads.
Certainly, Corky has brought something to our little theatrical community. He's definitely different.
You know, he can just do everything there is to do, and there's only one other person in the world that can do that, and that's Barbara Streisand.
I have a little announcement to make. Mort Guffman is going to come from New York City and see our show. We have one shot at this. We've got one performance. With Mort Guffman coming to town, we need to hitch up our panties and run.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have not seen that one. I've seen, I think, all of our other ones from this era.
Yeah, I was so impressed by this trailer. Like,
yeah,
just seeing, I was like, this looks so good. Like, I'm so interested in why it looks so modern and like timeless in that sense compared to everything else we just watched.
Absolutely.
Like, I was just like, wow, this looks like a movie. This is like a real movie that could fit a modern day. Like, what a great what a great sense for what was going to be popular, right? Or like what was going to kind of like withstand time, you know?
Absolutely. No, you're right. It almost makes me wonder what people thought of the trailer when it came out, just because it was so different. Like now it looks so familiar and accessible, but at the time it must have felt pretty like, what the hell is going on here? Like, imagine if you're in a theater, you saw the Star Wars trailer, the Shadow Conspiracy trailer, and then that, you'd be like, whoa.
Well, especially if I was like 15, you know what I mean? I would just be like, what is this, you know?
What's this boring ass shit,
right? Like,
yeah, yeah, you would have said that too.
It's just gay and boring and stupid. Like, who's this for? I can't believe, like some kind of indie art film, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And then you see it now and you're just like, oh yeah, that looks like a great, like modern, funny, awesome, interesting character movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, really like in comparison to what we've seen ahead of its time as far as trailers, and I haven't seen the film, but probably films, right?
Yeah. No, totally. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Christopher Guest
killing it. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, as usual.
Yeah. Christopher Guest killing it as usual. So that was
doing it again.
So that was our trailers for today, though. Was there anything that stood out to you? I know we just spent a bunch of time talking about that last one, but anything else that kind of spoke to you?
No, you know, not particularly. I did a little bit of research too. I think we covered most of the stuff I wanted to talk about, but I'm excited because this is just a random week, you know, and we got Final Fantasy VII and we got Star Wars. Like, I'm pretty excited about this project because I think we're gonna run into a lot of pretty cool stuff, and taking it week by week will give us a real interesting insight into, you know, like some weeks will be much more impactful and crazy than others, and then some there'll probably be nothing we recognize, which will also be kind of interesting.
Yeah, so, yeah. I find all this extremely fascinating as we kind of go through it. I think it's really fun to like look, and I cannot believe how many Saturn commercials are coming on. Like,
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, people were really loving Saturns, but such a bad car.
Yeah, you still see those though.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be very interesting. I think just the way that kind of this stuff is framed for audiences is so interesting to me, right? Like in retrospect, when I thought this stuff was so professional when I was a kid, and then you look at it now and it's like, wow, this stuff is really poorly, or really cheaply done in a lot of ways, you know? So
yeah, and there's just such profoundly different expectations for the audience. Like you said in the beginning, it's just like they did not respect the audience's intelligence in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it really does show the value of like competition and content. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like now there's so many content sources. Like, the moment to moment value has to be so much higher. You know, and I think
that's a good point.
Produces better art in a lot of ways, right? Like, so we'll see. And I also am shocked that Tupac was dead for months before this movie came out. I think that's it's remarkable. I think
that's pretty wild. So anytime you see Tupac come up, he's already dead. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, R.I.P. Tupac.
Yeah.
All right, that's what we got today, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. We appreciate it. You can email us quarterrecall@gmail.com. I haven't even set up our socials yet, so I'll add links to those as we go, or leave a comment on the video. We'd love to hear from you if there's anything from this period or anything we watched today that had an impact on you or your childhood or
Or anything we miss too. I'd be, there's probably stuff we'll miss.
We
I'd
don't
love to
miss
hear
anything.
people be like, okay,
Yeah,
you should set up that standard.
I checked the sources. Okay.
Okay.
But let me know what if you remember a song that kind of hit for
Yeah.
97 for you or whatever. We'd love to hear from you. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much, and have a great one. Talk to you next week.